When you think about learning a new language, I feel like your mind probably jumps straight to those massive, totally intimidating grammar textbooks.
Oh, absolutely. Just like stacks of flashcards everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You picture these endless columns of verb conjugations, and there's this overwhelming, almost paralyzing pressure to memorize, you know, thousands of vocabulary words before you even dare to open your mouth.
Right. It's like you're not allowed to speak until you're perfect.
Yes. We have this tendency to treat language acquisition like it's some, I don't know, massive academic mountain to climb. Like it's a test you either pass or fail based on how perfectly you place your modifiers.
Which is, frankly, a terrible way to learn.
It really is. But today, for our deep dives, we are looking at a completely different approach. It's hidden inside this seemingly simple curriculum called Daily English Foundations. 10 essential everyday sentences.
Yeah, and specifically, we are going to look at day 7 of their program,
Hmm.
which is designed as this really short, like 15 to 20-minute daily practice.
Right. And, on the surface, if you just glance at the transcript for this day 7 lesson, it looks like standard, basic, functional English speaking practice.
It does. It's categorized very clearly as English for beginners. It just offers a handful of incredibly common phrases that you might hear in, say, a grocery store or an office.
But our mission today is to look completely past that basic surface, because we aren't here to just read an English lesson to you. Today, we are going to unpack the incredibly brilliant, surprisingly deep psychological communication strategy that's actually embedded inside these 10 simple sentences.
It is surprisingly deep, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the source material actually starts with this fantastic, really physical analogy right out of the gate.
Oh, the bicycle one. I love this part.
It's so good. The instructor tells the learner, remember, learning English is like learning to ride a bicycle. Practice every day, and you will become better little by little.
Yeah, and that fundamentally reframes the whole objective for the learner right from the jump. Well, think about when you learn to ride a bike. You don't, sit in a classroom reading a physics textbook about gyroscopic balance and momentum, take a written test, and then just perfectly pedal away down the street.
Right, you'd crash immediately.
Exactly. You get on the actual bike, you wobble, you scrape your knee, you put your foot down, and you try again. It's a physical habit-building process.
So it's about action, not just theory.
Right. And by setting that expectation at the very beginning of the audio, before they even get to the actual new material for day 7, the curriculum is effectively telling the learner to expect the wobbles.
The wobbles are part of it.
Yeah. The wobbles aren't failures. They are the required mechanics of the process.
I mean, expecting the wobbles changes the whole emotional tone of the lesson, doesn't it? But before the lesson introduces any new material that might cause a wobble, it kicks off with what they call a quick review.
Right, a recap of the previous days?
Yeah, it's a series of phrases the learner presumably covered in days 1 through 6. Things like, good morning, good afternoon, how are you?
Very basic stuff.
Right, and I am fine, thank you. What is your name? My name is Rahul, can you help me? And I don't understand.
Just running through the hits.
Yeah, and looking at this list, it feels kind of like dynamic stretching before a heavy workout at the gym. You get the blood flowing with movements your body already knows.
That's a really great way to put it.
But I gotta ask, doesn't reviewing a basic phrase like, my name is Rahul on day 7, feel a bit patronizing to the learner? Like, why risk boring them with something they already mastered a whole week ago?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the purpose of that review is almost entirely psychological. It's not academic at all.
Oh, really? So it's not just about memory?
I mean, yes, spaced repetition definitely helps memory retention, but starting a learning module with guaranteed success builds this immediate, undeniable confidence.
Okay, that makes sense.
In linguistics and psychology, there is a concept known as the affective filter.
The affective filter, what is that exactly?
Think of it as a neurological wall that your brain builds when you feel anxious, stressed, or self-conscious.
Oh, wow. So your brain literally blocks you.
Yes, exactly. When that wall goes up, your language processing centers essentially shut down. Your amygdala perceives the fast-talking stranger or the complex grammar lesson as a literal threat, and your brain goes into a mild fight-or-flight response.
That is
It
wild.
literally cannot absorb new linguistic information when that filter is engaged.
I know exactly what you mean. You just get that deer in the headlights feeling where the other person is talking, but it just sounds like pure static.
Precisely. It's just noise. So, By having the learner repeat "good morning" and "how are you" right at the start, you are getting their vocal cords vibrating with words they have already successfully mastered.
You're easing them in.
Yeah, they are proving to their own nervous system that they are safe and capable. They are succeeding within the first 90 seconds of the practice.
Which means the ball comes down?
Exactly. The affective filter lowers, the neurological wall comes down, and now they actually have the cognitive bandwidth to receive the new, harder information that day 7 is about to throw at them.
So you are basically priming the brain with a victory.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they are absolutely going to need that lowered effective filter because the real world out there is chaotic. Like once you have that baseline confidence, you still have to face native speakers who talk way, way too fast.
Oh, they always do.
Right. And that brings us to the first new sentences taught in day 7, which operate like a remote control for human conversation.
A remote control. I like that.
Yeah. Let's look at sentence 1 from the lesson. It's simply, please speak slowly. The source gives the example of someone asking, can you understand me? And the learner responding, please speak slowly.
Right. And the source pairs that immediately with another really crucial tool in sentence 2, which is, could you repeat that?
That's a big one.
It is. They note this is used when you simply didn't hear something clearly. The example provided is someone saying, the meeting is tomorrow, and the learner just needing a second pass at the information.
And then they round out that trio with sentence 9, which is, what does this mean?
Yes.
The scenario they give there is someone saying, this word is beautiful, and the learner needing a specific definition. To me, these 3 phrases are the ultimate conversation remote control.
How do you mean?
Well, please speak slowly is the slow motion button. Could you repeat that? Is the rewind button. And what does this mean? Is basically asking for the conversational subtitles to be turned on.
That's a perfect analogy. It really highlights the underlying power dynamics of conversation, and particularly the cognitive load placed on a beginner.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
It is. Imagine being in a new country, attempting to use your new language. A native speaker doesn't just speak quickly, they blend words together.
Oh yeah, like they swallow half the syllables.
Exactly. What are you going to do becomes wachaganado. It is a literal verbal flood.
Wachaganado, right.
If you don't have these specific tools to chop up that flood, you are trapped as a passive, overwhelmed victim of the dialogue. You are just standing in the current, getting swept away by the sheer volume of auditory data.
Yeah, you end up just nodding and smiling aggressively, just silently praying. You didn't just agree to buy a timeshare or, like, volunteer for weekend duty.
We have all been there. Honestly, giving the learner these 3 explicit tools, slow down, rewind, define, transforms them from a passive listener into an active participant who can actually set boundaries.
That's a good point about boundaries.
Right, because it requires a lot of courage to interrupt a native speaker. These phrases give the learner permission to assert control and dictate the pace at which they receive information.
It totally flips the script.
It does. It shifts the power dynamic from, I am failing to understand you, to, I need you to adjust your delivery for me. That is wildly empowering.
It really is. But slowing a conversation down only buys you time.
Right.
Right? You still have to participate in the actual exchange.
It's true.
If you hit the slow motion button, you still need a way to deflect or return the volley without knowing advanced vocabulary. And that leads us to the next category of phrases in the curriculum.
Let's hear them.
So let's group sentences 4, 5, and 6 together. Sentence 4 is, I don't know. Sentence 5 is, I think so, which the source says to use when you believe something is true. Like if someone asks, is today Monday?
Yeah.
And you reply, I think so.
Right, a non-committal agreement.
Exactly. And 6 is, this sounds good, used when you like someone's idea, such as responding to, let's go to the park.
Those are highly functional responses. They're designed to manage the flow of interaction.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, because I want to push back on sentence 4.
Oh, which one?
The phrase, I don't know.
Okay, why?
Well, the specific example they give in the curriculum is someone asking the learner, where is Rohan? And the learner just flatly replies, I don't know.
Right.
Doesn't a blunt I don't know function as a total conversation killer? It feels like you're just slamming a door in someone's face, which is like the last thing a beginner trying to practice should be doing.
That's a really common reaction. But what's fascinating here is that we often view, I don't know, as an academic failure, like a lack of data.
Yeah, like you failed the quiz.
Exactly. But in the high-stakes environment of language learning, it is actually an incredibly effective piece of social grease.
Social grease. Okay, explain how shutting down a question greases the conversation.
So the curriculum provides these specific phrases so a learner doesn't just freeze and panic. Think about the actual physical awkwardness of silence in a conversation.
It's the worst.
It is. If a native speaker asks you where Rohan is and you don't know the vocabulary to say, I think you went to the store to buy apples, your brain goes into overdrive trying to construct that complex
Right,
sentence.
you're searching through your mental dictionary.
Yes. And while your brain is searching for the verbs, you are standing there in total silence. A 3-second pause in a conversation feels like an absolute eternity.
Oh yeah, it gets painful fast.
Silence makes the native speaker uncomfortable, and it spikes the learner's anxiety, which brings that affective filter right back up.
The wall comes back up. So giving them a quick, pre-packaged, I don't know, is basically an escape hatch.
Exactly. It allows the learner to participate in the musical rhythm of a back-and-forth dialogue. You don't need complex grammar to keep the volley alive.
You just need to hit the ball back over the net.
Precisely. By offering a swift, I don't know, or an agreeable thing, that sounds good, you acknowledge the other person, you honor the social contract of the conversation, and you bounce the ball back to their side of the court.
That makes a lot of sense.
You are participating in the social ritual of talking, which is often far more important for building connection than the actual data being exchanged.
Right. You are maintaining the rhythm without needing the vocabulary. You're keeping the volley alive. But how do you actually set the terms of engagement?
What do you mean?
Well, there's a third category of sentences in this Day 7 lesson that tackles this directly. It's about how the learner is taught to advocate for themselves.
Ah.
Let's bring in sentences 3, 7, 8, and 10. Sentence 3 is, I am learning English. The example they use is someone asking, why are you watching English videos? And you state, I am learning English.
And sentence 7 is, I am ready. It provides a clear status update, like when someone asks, are you ready for class?
Right. Then there is sentence 8, please wait a moment, which is used to carve out extra time. The example is someone asking, can we leave now? And you reply, please wait a moment.
That's great boundary setter.
Yeah. And finally, sentence 10, which might actually be my favorite phrase in the entire program. It's, I will try my best.
That's a beautiful phrase.
It is. The example here is someone asking, can you finish the homework? And the learner replies, I will try my best.
Those statements, they actually require a significant amount of self-awareness to use effectively.
And the source actually shows how powerful they are when you string them together.
Mm.
There's this section called mini conversation practice.
Oh, the role play section.
Yeah, it's a scripted dialogue between two characters, Emma and David. Emma asks David if he is learning English, and he confirms. Then Emma asks, can you understand everything?
And how does he respond?
David responds, not always. Please speak slowly. Right. Emma then actively encourages him to ask her to repeat things.
Yeah.
And David says, thank you. Sometimes I ask, what does this mean?
He's using the whole toolkit.
He is.
Yeah.
And he finishes the entire interaction by saying, I will try my best every day. David seamlessly weaves this Day 7 toolkit together to completely navigate Emma's expectations.
See, this raises an important question. Why is a phrase like, I am learning English or I will try my best so incredibly effective in real-world unscripted situations?
Well, why is it?
It comes down to the evolutionary psychology of vulnerability.
Wait, evolutionary psychology. How does vulnerability change the way a native speaker treats you?
Well, when a learner explicitly states, I am learning English, they are instantly recalibrating the expectations of the interaction. They are dropping a flag that says, I am a student of this environment, bear with me.
Right. They're admitting they aren't an expert.
Exactly. And when they add, I will try my best, they are demonstrating earnest effort. In human psychology, when we witness someone actively trying their best at a difficult task and displaying the vulnerability to admit they are a novice, it almost universally triggers our innate capacity for empathy.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
It transforms a transactional interaction like, buying coffee or asking for directions into a cooperative one.
So you completely disarm their potential impatience. Like, they stop judging you for mixing up your verb tenses, and instead they subconsciously start rooting for you to succeed.
Exactly. The native speaker naturally slows their cadence, they simplify their vocabulary, and they become a willing participant in the learner's journey.
They become a helper.
Right. These sentences aren't just vocabulary memorization. They are psychological tools designed to engineer a friendly, patient ecosystem around the learner.
And you can actually see that engineering in the targeted vocabulary list the source provides right at the end of the lesson, just before the closing instructions.
The recap list.
Yeah, it's a recap of the key words extracted from the 10 sentences. The list is, Slowly, repeat, learning, ready, wait, mean sounds, moment, think, best.
It's a very specific list.
It is. Looking at those specific 10 words, they are purely functional. Like this isn't a list of farm animals or colors or clothing items.
Right, there's no cow or blue or shirt.
Exactly. You can't point to a mean or a slowly in a picture book. This is the structural scaffolding of communication itself.
Which is so much more valuable. Because, I mean, knowing the word for apple doesn't help you if the cashier at the market is asking you a complex question at rapid speed.
Right. You just freeze.
But knowing the word slowly or repeat saves you in literally any context. Whether you are at a grocery store, a bank, or a doctor's office, that scaffolding keeps you afloat.
It's universal.
Yeah.
So you have this functional toolkit, but how do you actually install in your brain?
Right. Execution is everything.
Yeah, and the curriculum is very clear about the mechanics of doing this. In the closing section, the host of the program gives explicit instructions for the homework phase.
What do they tell them to do?
They tell the learner to practice these 10 sentences at least 5 times today. They encourage using these sentences with friends and family whenever possible.
Very standard practice advice.
But crucially, they instruct the learner to speak them out loud in front of a mirror to prepare for day 8.
Ah, the mirror practice.
Yeah. And, talking to a mirror seems entirely disconnected from real, dynamic social interaction. What is the value of reciting sentences to your own reflection?
Well, the mirror practice is a highly specific, deeply intentional directive aimed at developing muscle memory.
Muscle memory for speaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you are learning a new language, you aren't just memorizing new conceptual ideas in your prefrontal cortex. You are literally forcing the physical apparatus of your face, your jaw, your tongue, your lips, your vocal cords, to make entirely new geometric shapes.
That sounds intense when you put it like that.
But it's true. Your tongue has to hit the palate at angles it has never attempted before. Your lips have to round in unfamiliar, unnatural ways to produce foreign phonetic sounds.
Yeah, and you physically feel goofy doing it.
Yeah.
I know when I've tried to learn languages, it feels like you're making exaggerated, funny faces just to get the vowels right.
Exactly. And that physical self-consciousness can be a massive barrier. The motor cortex of your brain has to learn entirely new choreography.
So the mirror helps with that.
Right. By practicing in front of a mirror, the learner is forced to confront that physical awkwardness in a completely safe, controlled environment.
Nobody is watching except you.
Yes, you watch your own mouth make the strange new shape required for the word beautiful or slowly. You get visual feedback on your own pronunciation. But more importantly, you get used to seeing yourself occupying the identity of an English speaker.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It desensitizes you to the physical vulnerability of the act.
So by the time you actually use the word slowly with a cashier in real life, you aren't trying to figure out where your tongue goes while simultaneously trying to understand what the cashier's saying.
Exactly. You have separated the cognitive load of remembering the word from the motor load of physically producing it.
You've automated it.
The muscle memory takes over the physical production, freeing up your brain to focus entirely on the social interaction. You have proven to your own brain, visually and physically, that you can produce these sounds.
Wow. It all circles perfectly back to that bicycle analogy from the opening minutes, doesn't it?
It really does.
You cannot learn to ride a bike by just thinking about a bike. You have to physically get on the seat. You have to make the awkward shapes with your mouth in the mirror. You have to risk the wobble, knowing that the wobble is the only way forward.
And every single time you wobble and use the phrase, "Could you repeat that?" Ada says, you are building the balance required to eventually just ride smoothly down the street.
That's perfectly said. So what does this all mean? When we look at this entire day 7 practice, it's the psychological safety of the warm-up, the boundary setting of the remote control phrases, the rhythm of the social grease, the profound empathy generated by vulnerability, and the literal muscle memory of the mirror homework. It becomes incredibly clear that this program isn't just teaching an arbitrary list of words.
Not at all.
It is teaching the physical, mental, and emotional habit of human communication.
It's teaching you how to connect.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, it leaves me with a final sort of lingering question for you to ponder. We've spent this time looking at this toolkit, asking someone to slow down, admitting I don't know, or saying, could you repeat that? Strictly through the lens of a beginner learning English as a second language.
Right, as a survival toolkit.
But think about your own life. In your own native language, look at this supposedly beginner toolkit. How much richer, how much clearer would our everyday native language communication be if we actually gave ourselves permission to use these fundamental tools more often.
That's a really good point.
Right. Like how many arguments or misunderstandings at work or at home could we completely avoid if we just had the courage to say, please speak slowly, or the vulnerability to look someone in the eye and admit, I don't know, but I will try my best.
I think it would solve a lot of problems, honestly.
Me too.
Hmm.
Maybe we're all still just learning how to ride the bicycle.